Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this week's edition of Sales Boomerang University. My name is Spencer Schultz. I've been taking you on through these courses here every Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern Time. Super fired up to have you guys join me again, and really excited to continue on as we're getting towards the end of the year here, guys. Really trying to look at some strategies to help finish out the year strong, as well as to ultimately go through and finalize our plans for 2023, make sure that we're going to have a prepared mission statement, a prepared plan of action, plan of attack once the new year rolls in that we're getting ahead of now. So without further ado, we can get on into it, my friends. This week, like I said, is Sales Boomerang University 301, and we're going to be looking at how to become a retention rock star and make sure that we're really hyper-focused on making sure that our pipeline is able to elevate through the traditional norm of, all right, I close somebody out. There's no loyalty to the lender. There's no loyalty to the borrower. The borrower's loyal to the rate as opposed to the lender. So how are we going to apply strategies here? Advanced best practices for borrower retention. We're going to look at our prescriptive scenario insights. These are the most powerful tools in the entire mortgage intelligence space. I've been saying it for months and months and months now, but ultimately, how do we use these to get ahead of the conversation? CRM best practices, advanced in terms of marketing automation. And hey, if you're an administrator with Sales Boomerang, in terms of monitoring the account, being in charge of the Sales Boomerang account for your lender, or you're in leadership, management, branch manager, regional sales, whatever it might be, what can we do to help elevate that process? Again, my name is Spencer Schultz. I'm a training and adoption strategist and a growth strategist with Sales Boomerang, a former LO myself. Spent a couple of years in the industry, and now I am on the data and analytics side and trying to help share what wise men are doing. I'm not closing loans today, so I'm not here to tell you what sounds good in imagination land with fairy tales and rainbows and sprinkles on top of it. While that all sounds good and dandy, I want to tell you what actual top producers are doing to close over 100 million in loan volume in 2022 and beyond. Again, guys, same goal every week. We start off, leave no borrower behind. We want to leave no one who wants to be a homeowner behind. We want to make sure that when they're in the right loan to meet their personal and financial goals. That is our core tenet through our profession, through utilizing technology like Sales Boomerang and Mortgage Coach, and all of the effort and elbow grease that we put in. Average number of mortgage transactions in a borrower's life, guys. Again, we're going to talk about that 11. This is how we're going to be more proactive today. We've talked about this the last couple of weeks here in 101 and 201. Now, how are we going to examine the long-term strategy, talking about the next 3 transactions, the next 5 transactions? And again, what is going to separate you in terms of increasing your retention is, again, education for your borrower, strategy, best practices, using your knowledge. That's what separates you. That's what makes them loyal to a lender or to an LO as opposed to a rate. Otherwise, they're just going to search for the lowest rate on whatever they can get. How do we use these tools to get ahead? And again, guys, a retention rock star knows their database inside and out. They know we've shared this graphic before, but now we're starting to ask the questions over time. What data is leading to what percentage of conversions? What am I saying? What am I doing? Starting to get advanced in analyzing how different sets of our data. Okay, our leads, we've sent out this video and this text. We have this percent response rate. We have this percent application rate. We have this percent that have turned into funded deals. Where am I seeing better results? Where am I not seeing them? What can I do to improve them? Do I need to tweak my process? Should I change what time I'm sending these text messages out, these videos out, the length of them, the message inside of them? Do they need to be more seasonally changed, or do they need to be more driven about, a consultative approach of asking questions? These are all the different strategies we can apply to our messaging ultimately. Again, always asking, where am I not seeing the results that I want to? And what should I do to improve them? Again, it's a scientific method. I believe that this is the successful product for this type of borrower. This is the message I would want to receive if I was that type of borrower. Is that, and then tracking it again, guys, is that what is leading to conversions? Always asking questions of ourselves, always analyzing our different subsets of data. Are we using this platform to enhance our relationships with our referral partners as much as possible? Are we doing things like having LOs at their open houses take down name, address, and phone number of everyone that comes into that open house so that you can monitor them for yourself and for that realtor? Are you doing credit improvement? Debt is up at an all-time high here. I just had a study that was put on my desk, so to speak, a little while ago here. According to CNBC, household debt soars at the fastest pace in 15 years as credit card usage surges, the Fed reported. So the fastest inflation in decades is raising the roof on the household debt in the US debt market, including credit cards and mortgages. $351 billion in new debt in the third quarter. That is the most since 2007. And we know what happened right after 2007, or right at the end, to a record $16.5 trillion, according to the New York Federal Reserve. Credit card balances are up over 15%, the highest year over year in 20 years. People are stretched thin. Debt is on the rise. Prices starting to tip down a little bit. Balances are ballooning up by $1 trillion to $11.7 trillion in mortgage debt right now, guys. Are we looking at those people? Are we considering all of the aspects, again, guys, of our database? What about our current pipeline? Are we ensuring that nothing's slipping through the cracks? We talked about mortgage inquiry last week. That's how we can see if someone's shopping on us. And we can know ahead of time. We can tell that borrower ahead of time, rather, hey, we're going to be able to see any credit activity, fraud protection, making sure that we understand. You know they're shopping. You let them know that you're going to know if they're shopping. That way, it's not uncomfortable. Let them know ahead of time. Yeah, we do free fraud protection for everyone in our database, everyone that we work with. That way, you'll see your leads. What is the messaging like for them as opposed to your past customers? Do you need to have more aggressive messaging with your leads? Do you need to have a more aggressive pace with your leads as opposed to your past customers? We have Cecilia here who's wanting to ask a question. Ultimately, Cecilia, please feel free to go ahead in the chat there. Again, with that, guys, our borrower intelligence platform is going to be, and we have Q&A here, pardon me. Oh, she said, sorry, didn't mean to raise my hand. No worries, Cecilia. Okay, with that, guys, again, signals, insight, strategies. Like, again, it's talking about the strategy. This today is about strategy. As if we know where to look, it's a database, the insight. What are we receiving? We're going to talk about prescriptive scenarios. That is going to help us get into the strategy. So here on the right-hand side, guys, we're going to be talking about rate and term, cash out, and FHA MI removal. These are combining what we've learned over the last 2 weeks, combining the aspects of mortgage inquiry and equity and listing, and all these different things to see instances that allow us essentially to Google search our database so that we can find whatever we're looking for relative to market, or relative to a certain product that we're looking to push, or relative to an idea that we have, or, we're doing a 10-1 variable arm, locked arm, or we're doing a 2-1 buy down strategy that's really working. Okay, where can we find those? Those kinds of things. So prescriptive scenarios, these are fully proactive alerts. And what we've learned in the last 2 sessions here, 82% of your borrowers leave you on average every year. 77% of your borrowers. So let's say 3 out of 4 borrowers go with their first or second touch. We went over that and some strategies to increase that number, but that means they're going to go with the first person they talk to. These are offensive, proactive, strategic opportunities to be the first ones. You get 3 out of those 4, hopefully higher than that. That's how we have a long-term relationship, so that there's loyalty between the lender and the borrower due to education and strategy, as opposed to just the rate. These are our most expensive alerts, guys. I've been saying this. I've been in this exact position at Sales Boomerang since February and talking to LOs like yourselves here. And I wanted to say that I have been, the sound salesy, I've been offering $100. I will personally, from my own checking account, Venmo you, Cash App you, PayPal, Apple Pay, whatever, carrier pigeon with a cash in its little claw there. If you can find something that is more insightful than specifically our cash out alert. And the first thing, we do have life events as well. I'm going to skip around a little bit here, guys. Did want to talk about cash out first. The first thing I don't want you to do is roll your eyes and say, well, we don't do cash outs. Cash outs are why 2008 happened. Cash outs are not something that we are interested in. I want you to instead think of this as the Google alert. So remove cash out refi from your mind. This is the Google alert. I am able to type in as if it is a Google search bar and see whatever I want to. I can create custom settings that I can enter myself, or my, the administrator or the branch manager, whoever is in control of this, can help find in Sales Boomerang, and all of your data, all of your leads, all of your records, as we call them, all of the people you ever worked with. Okay. Credit repair. Spencer from Sales Boomerang was just telling me that, debt is up a ton and we're looking to have some proactive conversations. So I'm going to work on people in my database that don't have great credit. So we can set a credit threshold, again, directly from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Let's call that 580 plus, not super well qualified. Okay. People that have a revolving debt directly from TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. How much credit card debt essentially do they have? All right, let's put that at 10,000 plus. Home value, not super important to this, but let's, we want to see some juicier opportunities perhaps. All right, let's go 300K plus. And then let's look at equity. People who have a little bit of actionable equity, let's say 75% LTV, somewhere around there, that they could maybe tap into some of their equity. Let's call it 70%. I will then see, I can enter those settings like a Google search, or like saying, hey Siri, think of it like this. Hey Siri, show me in my database, everyone who has a 580 credit score and above, 75% tappable equity or below, LTV wise, home value of 300,000 and $10,000 in debt. That is what this alert can do for you. Is it great for cash out refinances? Sure. Is it great for, HELOCs, all that good stuff? Sure. But it's great for everything. You can see every type of borrower you want to see. Okay, I want to look at those who are actually really well qualified, have a little bit of debt, so I have a foot in the door, and a substantial equity position. Okay, let's go 740 plus, $450,000 home value minimum, 50% equity or LTV or greater, and let's call it $5,000 in revolving debt. That way I can approach them about, hey, saw you got these bills, hey, was doing a free mortgage health review, a service we spoke last in 2019. Tell a little fun fact. Hey, we saw that debt is on the rise. We read a report and just thought that we should take action to help make sure that borrowers know all the resources they have in order to escape credit card debt, which can obviously be paying 20% plus interest. We want to make sure everyone that we've ever spoken with isn't in that situation. Saw you had some interesting possibilities. And then you can talk to them about, okay, well, yeah, you've got $5,800 in credit card debt. That's not great. We can help you clear that out, use your equity, quick transaction. But then we can have a conversation. Hey, have you also considered an investment property? Again, guys, we always want to be asking questions. We want to be the advisor. We want to be the guide, not the hero. Have you considered this? Have you considered this? Have you considered this? No? Well, here's what a borrower I worked with, a month ago did. Here's what a borrower I worked with 6 months ago did. Allowed them to diversify their portfolio, date the rate, marry the house, or did a 2-1 buy down strategy, or a variable, 10-year ARM product, or whatever it is ultimately. So again, guys, you can use these to have footholds into the door or an entrance into the doorway of every conversation with every type of borrower you want to see. And you can change these over time. Okay, we're going to focus on credit repair to finish out 2020, open up 2023, let's say, as people, put on some debt through the holidays. All right, let's see who we can help there. Then in Q2, we want to start having conversations about those who might be able to refi soon. And looking at that opportunity where rates are starting to come down in Q3, something like that, or really well qualified borrowers ahead of Q3 when rates are supposed to drop a ton. Then Q3, we're going to focus on those that we can help, refinance, those that we can help that have bought in the last, year, and work that way. So you can use these prescriptive scenarios, and we have a rate and term one I'm going to get into as well. You can use these to get ahead of the market and be the first person to reach out of them, because the Black Knight told us 77% of borrowers went with the first person they spoke, the first lender they spoke with, the first touch. These are the opportunity to have those ultimately, guys. So very, very important here. Wanted to get this one. Okay, there we go. Awesome. Cash out, and hey, it is great for cash out refis. I'm sure you guys know most of this stuff, but if you're a new developing LO, what is the benefit of a cash out refi? Pay off debt. You can reduce your total expenses. You need to be looking when you're speaking with borrowers, not just at what their mortgage payment is, but what is the totality of all of their debts, all of their credit cards, all of their student loans, all of their auto loans. Can you consolidate that? Can you reduce what they're paying in total monthly within their goals? Is that something they're interested in? Investment properties, we already talked about using some of your equity to put a down payment on an investment property. use your equity to create equity. Construction renovation loan, home improvements. You can pay down a first mortgage. Finance education costs. Johnny and Janie are going to, want to go to JMU and, University of Maryland. Okay. Do you want to are you going to have to take out a private loan for that? Those are hefty interest rates. This will be much lower. Prepare for the what ifs. And people always say rainy day fund. What about a sunny day fund? Have they considered opening their own business, a second income, passion that they want to pursue until, whatever it is? All of those are fantastic. They're tax deductible. The interest rate is usually always lower than other types of debt. You can pay off a debt over a shorter term to get it off while you're in a good spot, consolidate your higher interest debts, all of those things, guys. Here's what those will look like. So within these, a couple really important aspects here. This is a little bit more technical. This is the 301. So Lolita Orabello here, this hypothetical borrower, we're also going to show you what type of loan they're in today, as opposed to what you had. We use core logic and public mortgage data. We will scour all of our thousands of resources we use, including core logic, to find, all right, let's say you hypothetically worked with Lolita back in 2018, and then Lolita refinanced into a 2875 when rates were low a year and a half ago. If you didn't have that, you're not going to be as relevant. So we're going to update whatever we find in public mortgage data or whatever we find. What type of loan are they in? What is the balance? What is the LTV? What is the rate? What is the home value? In addition to their credit score. And on top of that, how much revolving debt do they have? You know everything. You have a complete financial picture of this borrower, not just of their mortgage health, but of their activity and their full financial health. So this is going to be something where you can help, push them to a referral partner who's a financial advisor, wealth management, or retirement, a CPA, or also realtors to consider, hey, investment properties in certain areas, things of that nature. You can go in any avenue because you have all of the information, you have all their updated information. Even if you didn't close their last loan, their last loan's information. So you have all the power in the world here, guys. All the power in the world through the cash out alert. This is the most powerful insight in the mortgage industry. And again, don't typecast this as just for HELOCs and just for cash out refis. This is for every loan. You can find whatever you're looking for. The next one, guys, and I need to update this slide because it now considers rate. You get we talked about Alice's, the Alice's of the world in 101 and 201, I believe. And let's say it's a first-time home buyer where you're looking to educate them and get that lender loyalty, borrower loyalty, lender for life, best financial friend, all those cheesy sayings. You're looking to establish that long-term connection from the start. Okay, you let them know, hey, you can put as little as 3% down or 5% down right now. Okay, you educated them on that. They don't need 20% down in order to get their house. They don't need to be paying rent. They could lower what they're paying in total while accruing equity, all those things. Okay, but you're going to have to pay mortgage insurance if you're in an FHA. So you can say as an LO, I am automatically notified as soon as you can take that off. And this also factors in rate. So it's just they're credit qualified. They cross that equity position or are about to reach over and take that off. And considering their rate doesn't make sense. Those are all customizable settings. I like to call this the snake in the grass or the transition insight, because this is how we get from our first loan to our third and fourth loan. Because it's, okay, I'm going to take this off for you when it's time. That time comes, you help them do that. Then what's next? Refinance again later. Our rate's going to come down, tap into equity. Are they planning on moving up? Are they planning on starting a family? Let's talk about the next loan. We get from 1 to 3, maybe even 4, talk about the fourth through this loan. There's a transition loan. It's quick. And you might think to yourself, oh, these aren't great. I don't make a ton of money on these. It's not about that necessarily in this transaction. It's about once you've done 2, talking about 3 with one borrower, especially a young borrower, you're really developing a long-term relationship there. So getting that permanence of that relationship and that trust is very key. And again, it's just another service that you're providing for this borrower. You can see some statistics here, guys. More than 22% remove mortgage insurance to reduce their monthly payment, and greater than 20% use the opportunity to refinance a conventional mortgage to lower the payment, lower interest rates, leverage tappable equity, consolidate debt, all of those good things, guys. So again, those are more from my developing LOs. I'll sit here for a second so my developing LOs can read some of these for just a minute. If you're a top producer or something of the sort, you know all this good stuff. But you can kind of see an example here on the side of what these alerts look like in our system, guys. current estimated payment, how much it'll get reduced. Their current mortgage is, an FHA 30-year. Here's the loan amount, rate information, revolving debt that they have, all of it, guys, all of it. How much are they going to save monthly? So it'll tell you how much they're going to save directly, $166 a month. So they're going to be saving, almost $2,000 a year, somewhere in that department, ultimately through removing their mortgage insurance. The next one is rate and term. This is just like cash out, except it's going to consider the rate. So as opposed to the equity position, we're looking at, you can reduce your monthly payment. And again, as opposed to the debt position, we're looking at the rate. We have the equity included in here. So again, your foot is in the doorway here, as opposed to the debt conversation, is going to be, you can reduce your monthly payment. We can get you into a lower interest rate. You could, if you have equity, would it be within your goals to pay your home off faster, reduce it down to 15 years, use some of that equity to speed it up in a lower rate. So you're paying way less interest and a lot more towards your principal faster. You can customize home value. You can customize their FICO score, all of these things. You can look at people who are, just 620 and above and have conversations with some of them about, trying to lower monthly payment versus, all right, well, let's show us everyone who's 740. Maybe they would want to consider paying their home off faster or reducing their rate and tapping into their equity in one fell swoop and working that way. So very, very similar, guys. Rates are volatile, but still lower than your rate. Consolidate debt, pivot to a purchase, make your current home a dream home, all of those same things. But the foothold here is going to be considering the terms and also the rate and having that doorway a little bit more so than in cash out. Here's an example. Okay, we'll show you that Lolita Orabello here can save $2,500 a year. And you can mark it quickly that way. You get all the same information, all the same deal. We're going to update you on the most recent loan that we can find through CoreLogic or public mortgage data. That way you're more relevant and up to the date with numbers. And if you ever find yourself, guys, to sidebar a little bit, if you ever find yourself where what you're looking at, maybe it's your own notes and has nothing to do with Sales Boomerang, you're talking with someone, if they did something, just feel free to ask them. Say, oh, I'd love to update my notes. I would love to update what I have in your record, make sure that, we can find the best strategies for you based on what you're currently in now. So if the conversation comes to oh my gosh, you're in a way lower rate than I thought. Good. You're finding out new information. Don't be scared to find out new information. Be glad to find out new information. So with the prescriptive scenarios, we're going to fill in as much as we can possibly scour out of the internet. But at the same time, ask questions. If you're misaligned for some reason, it's okay. It's okay to take a breather. It's okay to ask a couple. Oh, okay. Based on what I saw from your file in 2018, that was the last transaction I had. Do you happen to know what your rate was? What type of loan you're in? Those kinds of things. Always be available to ask those questions. Take a breath. Oh, wow. Okay. I wasn't sure that. Could you tell me about that loan here just so I can update my notes? Quick little breather for yourself. Get yourself ready to pivot ultimately. But rate and term, there's a little sidebar. Sorry, but rate and term, guys, same thing as cash out. And then I wanted to talk about one more here. This is our newest insight that we offer. And I've got a couple little slides here. This is our life event alerts. This is a non-credit alert. So with that, we say the cliche phrase, hey, borrower for life. Well, you can't be there for life if you're not there when life happens. So life events, guys, are going to show you anything that has happened in the last 12 to 18 months that will increase the chance of a financial transaction. We called that 20%. 20% more likely to have a financial transaction. So marriage, birth, death, divorce, newly single, all of these kinds of things. We actually just recently, I need to update this slide. We just recently consolidated, not first birth or additional birth. It's just one. Empty nest, emerging professional. This is for anyone in the household, ultimately. So with these, you can, as you're helping out with that first-time home buyer, again, we want to tell our borrowers up front that we have this so they expect it. Setting expectations that you will be following up in the event that one of these things happens. And, you might think, oh, wow, that's really creepy. Well, it is. But there's also been a show called Big Brother since the 90s, like most of my life, well over half my life, there's been a show called Big Brother. And if someone is trusting you with a 30-year debt obligation, I would hope they would be willing to help me if any of these instances happened in the negative sense or want to help me maximize them in the positive sense. That's someone who's going to be the captain of my financial team. That's going to be a champion for me to achieve my goals. So I think there's kind of two approaches to these. I think this slide kind of covers it. Be proud of it. Again, being upfront instead of embarrassed, saying, okay, we have access to this technology. We want to be there for you, not just for this loan. We want to help you become a homeowner, not a loan owner, all of those kinds of things. Can't be there for someone as a lender for life if you're not there when life happens, all of those things. I kind of already read through those. So there's really two strategies with these guys. Number one, you can take the positive ones and run with them. Marriage, birth, graduation, all of those things, and really, really run with them. Say, hey, you know, what would number one, you can say, oh, a little birdie told me, or, hey, that's the first approach. What would a realtor say is what I like to ask. And hey, you can share these with realtors because they're non-credit. There's no non-public information being shared. So you can let the realtor do your work for you in that sense. But a realtor would say, hey, a little birdie told me, or I saw on LinkedIn, or I saw, you can always try to confirm these yourself. Tell your borrowers, you know, follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever. Follow them back so you can keep track of their life, see when these things happen. You confirm them ultimately. But the other approach here, especially for these more kind of challenging ones, death, divorce, things of that nature, can go with more of a generic kind of message. Hey, really appreciated working. Hey, it's Spencer at SB Lender. Really appreciated, you know, working with you. Hope everything's going well. In the last 12 months, we at SB Lender have found that 37% of borrowers have had one of these things occur: marriage, birth, death, graduation, divorce, empty nester, emerging professional who obtained an additional degree. If any of these apply to you, we want to be there to help maximize your gain or minimize, you know, the challenge. Maybe not minimize the challenge, help overcome the challenge. We have office hours for these. I've set aside time tomorrow at noon for anyone to reach out. Would love to speak with you to see if any of these things are upcoming or if you've dealt with any of these in the last year, so that we can go over a few strategies that I don't want you to miss out on. That type of messaging, you know. And again, it's not the day after it happens. If someone passes away in the household, it's not, hey, you know, my condolences, do you want a new loan? It's not the next day. It's going to be, you know, when the records are updated and the death certificate goes out and is posted online and those kinds of things. So it's not immediate, and you don't need to have that in their face approach. But if it's a positive thing, you can run with that too. So there's really two kind of strategies there with those. But that's all of those. And then this is what we need to be doing, guys. We're obviously, you know, Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang are one entity now. And these are the advanced strategies that you need to be taking advantage of. If you're not sending video content and text messages to millennials, young millennials, and Gen Z, you're losing out, simply. Gen Z are going to be homeowners in mass in the next 5-10 years. They want a TikTok. They want a video. They want things to be explained to them in a more up-to-date manner, I guess was the best way to put it. It is not an email. They don't check their emails. You have kids, you leave them a voicemail as opposed to a text message. They're going to text you back. They're not going to call you back. Cost and savings over time, considering those things, comparing multiple loan options side by side, guys. If you're still using these fee worksheets, it's confusing. It's monotonous. It looks like you stumbled into Bob's Discount Furniture in the inventory section in the back, as opposed to, you know, let's call this the Netflix, the Hulu, the Prime Video of the mortgage industry is Mortgage Coach, as opposed to Blockbuster. And what we're going to do with these, and the reason I make that comparison is because using this itemized fee worksheet is how, and maybe some of your, you know, some of the bosses in your lender and your organization, you know, maybe they do like these things for a reason, but it keeps the wool over the borrower's eyes. I put on that fee worksheet only what I want the borrower to see. They don't know about all the other options that they have. They don't feel, you know, it feels like they need, you know, a microscope or a monocle and, you know, an Etch-a-Sketch and some duct tape and scissors and glue and pens and papers and staplers to go through this fee worksheet, as opposed to this Mortgage Coach TCA. It looks like this, guys. This is talking about a debt consolidation and financial freedom analysis. And this one is not incredibly relevant. I do need to update this, but this is essentially comparing a debt consolidation versus a current rate. And this would be if rates were lowered. So this is something that would happen next year more so. 3.125, not relevant right now. I need to update this, but same point stands here, guys. I'm able to show them, okay, here's what would happen if we reset your terms to 30 years and you pulled $5,000 cash out. Here's what would happen if we paid off $500 towards your principal extra as opposed to what you're currently paying, using that $500 extra or using that $5,000 extra to pay off what you have now towards your principal versus, okay, you have a mutual fund that's supposed to yield 11.42% annually. Okay, well, what if we take that $5,000 and put it in there? How does that play over the next 5 years, over the next 15 years? I can direct their attention through highlighting these things. Here's your monthly savings. Okay, I'm able to show any of these three considerations are going to save you money monthly. Here's the first total interest percentage. Here is, how much the first 5 years of the loan are going to cost you. Here's how much you're going to be saving monthly as opposed to what you're currently in. And one of the most powerful ones to me is here's how long it's going to take you to be a homeowner instead of a loan owner. Achieve financial freedom. What you're currently in, it's going to take you 18 years in a month versus resetting the terms at 30 years versus 11 years, 11 years and 5 months versus, 18 years in that mutual fund, staying where you are. How does that play in monthly payment difference on the side here? Easy to digest, easy to read. Here are your savings over the next 60 months. How much cash you are retaining as opposed to what you're currently in. Here's how your net worth is going to be impacted in 15 years. Okay, that investment is going to yield you $138,000 more than what you currently have over the next 15 years. That's paying for Johnny and Janie's college, straight up, and lowering your monthly payment. Effectively, you've taken all of the air out of the room. There's nothing left for interpretation. If a borrower doesn't proceed after this, it's on their own prerogative. It's not in their bed. Like examining this kind of situation, be able to lay things side by side so clearly and precisely. Where else are they going to go? What else are they going to do? You've really just removed all of the capacity for wandering and hesitation, and this instills confidence. You're educating the borrower. You can input any type of situation you want to do. Rent versus own, debt consolidation. You can phrase like this. Okay, yes, interest rates are in the 6s right now, but what's your credit card debt in? The 20s. Looking over, the next 18 years, what you're paying currently of $10,000 in revolving credit card debt versus consolidating it, you're going to reduce your monthly payment. $400, you're going to save $24,000 over the next 18 years. You've removed all the air out of the room. There's nothing left for interpretation, guys. And again, with these, you're able to do 3 key things. These are the 3 key elements of what you need to be doing. If you're not using Mortgage Coach, you need to be using these pillars in your approach, comparing multiple options. There are multiple options. There always are. Make sure that they know all 3 of them in an easy to digest manner. You need to be comparing within those cost over the short term and long term relative to that borrower's goals. You find out their goals by asking. Strategies, guys. What is the long-term play here? They want to be debt-free. Do they want to own their home outright? Do they want to retire? Do they want to, X, Y, or Z? Okay, well then these are the 3 best options. And then we can compare them side by side with what you're currently in. So which one is helping you accomplish the most goals or makes you feel the best about accomplishing your goals? And it's better than what you're doing now. So if you don't want to accomplish your goals, then I don't have anything for you. So with that, guys, we want to be talking about contact strategy. Again, texting, email, BombBomb. I highly recommend BombBomb. We are not associated with them. We don't integrate with them or anything. Many of our successful lender partners use BombBomb, B-O-M-B, send out video email, video text message, all of those sorts of tools. And even if you don't use something like that, you can automate the process. You can use a Mortgage Coach TCA and narrate those with a digital video presentation. You can go over them live with someone. I have LOs that simply tell me they do this. They take their cell phone and stick it in front, make sure they look nice. Hey, Joe and Jane, this is Spencer at SB Lender. We worked together back in 2019. At SB, we were doing an annual free mortgage health review. We had seen that the average debt position had increased in our kind of database here of every borrower, about 15% from last year, and was reviewing your file, saw you had some really interesting possibilities I don't want you to miss out on to make sure you're in the lowest payment system possible, lowest payment plan possible. Don't want you to miss out and keep paying more than you have to. I've set aside some time for you to have a call tomorrow at noon. We always give them a hard deadline. If that doesn't work for you, shoot me a text. Otherwise, I'll hear from you tomorrow at noon. Thank you so much. Have a great day. 30 seconds, send that out in a text message. Send that out, that video in your email instead of a bunch of words. It's personalized. The human touch is what separates us from the rate jockeys, Rocket Mortgage, Quicken, all of those conglomerates that just mass email and mass robocall and robodial. It's me, the person that you worked with or spoke to. I'm checking in. Here's my face. There's something that you need to know and you can't miss out on. You're wasting money by missing out on, essentially. So, but at the same time, you want to automate your emails through your CRM, whatever we integrate with any CRM. We currently integrate with 28, I believe. You can automate this process. So as soon as you receive a cash out alert, it will trigger an email and a text and a phone call. A mortgage coach TCA can trigger any of those things without you pressing a button. It can be automated. We have full text and email campaigns if that's something you're interested in. You can find them, Mortgage Coach, on YouTube. You can find them at our resource hub, which I'll drop in the chat here, which is support.salesboomerang.com. Anyone can sign up for that. You just have to click and go into the bottom left-hand corner, new to sign up, enter your email. Anyone can use it. You don't even need to be using Sales Boomerang at the time. A chimpanzee with a computer and some functional thumbs can use it ultimately. But again, guys, we want to be considering attacking on all fronts, because I'll tell you what, the most successful lenders are using video and text message and Mortgage Coach TCAs. We also always need to consider pace. We do not need, if we get a cash out and we're proactive, we do not need to bug that person 15 times in a day like a mortgage inquiry, as opposed to a touch here, a touch there, a gentle touch once a month for 3 months. And then on the 4th month, still kind of getting ahead of it, hey, this is how much you've lost by waiting. Something of that nature. Hey, I sent you this back it's November now. I sent you this back in July. By waiting, it looks like you've missed out on the opportunity to save about $8,000 in interest that could have gone towards your principal or into your pocket. Then you can get a little more aggressive. You can up the pace a little bit. Again, we don't want to scare these away in these proactive approaches, but we can have one automatically go out, and you can set up your system within your CRM, Jungo, Velocify, Accelerate, all of these things can automatically trigger messages after certain periods of time. And again, we have full text and email scripting available in our resource hub, on Mortgage Coach's YouTube, all of it, guys. So with that, we can use that to automatically trigger to realtors so that a listing alert goes out or a cash out alert goes out, and you can automatically trigger. The borrower has one message and the realtor has another message. Hey, you should give so-and-so a call about investment properties or whatever it is, automatically, without you even having to lift a finger. So always need to be considering the mechanisms of approach, considering cadence and relevance and time and urgency. Again, if a mortgage inquiry alert happens, someone's shopping and you're not the second lender to talk to them, you have about a 5% chance, a 1 in 20 chance, as opposed to a 1 in 5 chance if you're the second lender to talk to them. You really, in order to be the second lender, have to have the process automated, which means having the email and the text and the video and the Mortgage Coach TCA go out without clicking anything. As soon as the alert triggers in your CRM, the CRM kicks communication with the borrower. Again, we need to track the effectiveness. We need to analyze these campaigns that we use. Use one approach, one campaign with a very general approach. Maybe, this is Spencer at SB Lender. We were doing an annual free mortgage health review and, wanted to make sure that our borrowers were in the best position for 2023 ahead of a potential recession, versus a more aggressive approach of, hey, this is Spencer with Sales Boomerang Lender, and I wanted you to know that it looks like you've kind of set on fire $5,000 by waiting to do this transaction I've been telling you about here over the last couple of months. That could have been $5,000 you paid towards your principal, or $5,000 that you put back into your pocket over the last few months here. Which one's more successful? Which one garners more of a response? Which one turns into more applications? Or neither of them effective? Then we can try a different approach. Always want to be tracking that. What is our response rate? What is our application rate? We have to prepare for the next market by being proactive. Again, 3 out of 4 borrowers go with the first lender they talk with. by being proactive ahead of the market and ahead of other lenders and initiating these conversations now. Hey, what's the worst case in a recession look like for you? What's the best case look like for you? If we initiate those conversations now, and we also prepare our referral partners for the next strategy now, then we're ahead of it and we're ahead of other lenders. And we're going to get 3 out of those 4, hopefully even more using these systems. We have to maximize our output in that same sense with our referral partners. Right now, it's the holidays. Rates are coming down a little bit. So we're getting a little action here, hopefully, but we've got some downtime as well. Social media, we're making videos and TikToks and Instagram reels talking about the Fed and what happens with the consumer price index and all those kinds of things. We should be having these conversations with our referral partners that we have this technology and we can help them utilize it as well as a true referral partner ultimately, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. There's tons and tons and tons more content on the Mortgage Coach YouTube. There are Tuesday sessions, Friday masterminds, best of 2022 with real LOs talking about their strategies, how they're applying their messaging, how they're having conversations with referral partners to make sure that they essentially get to sit on the beach sipping pina coladas while an automated net brings them, delicious fish that are credit qualified. As I talked about in the last session, I know it's a funny place, my brain, but that's the system that we need in place, the automated process that's ahead of the market and ahead of other lenders. That is how we get a lender for life. That is how we become a retention rock star. And that is how we help educate our borrowers. That's how we help improve the country that we live in, reduce the debt. We're making an impact, guys. And guess what? We're making some money in the meantime as well. Thank you so much for attending 301. Again, every Tuesday, we have 101, 201, 301. First, second, and third Tuesday of the month. Next week, the fourth Tuesday of the month, will be a market-relevant Sales Boomerang University. And really excited for that one. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go help some people. Go close some loans.